Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Core Racing Network tonight. The UCRL Man Cave After Dark Truck Series heads to the desert, heads to Phoenix Raceway. And it's a tri-oval, but not really a tri-oval. It's kind of just a weird shaped track here, as you can see on the screen right there. But 1 mile track here, and it's pretty fast speeds, even though this thing is pretty flat out there. So should see some good racing here. But for those of you that are familiar with the Phoenix Raceway, this is the newer version. But unlike in golf, where the dog leg cutting it gives you a little risk reward, no reward for cutting the dog leg here tonight. It is all risk because you will get a penalty. The dog leg, even though it is technically open, there's no cones or anything like that blocking it, you will get a penalty for going down there. So not going to see any of the trucks going down there unless they're forced down there or something like that. But out of play here tonight. But in play, my man here in the booth, Jimmy Cover. Jimmy, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Oh, doing pretty fantastic, actually, and looking forward to see what these guys can do here at Phoenix. It's the their Copperhead Classic 175 presented by UCRL. The guys here at the Man Cave After Dark Truck Series, and I'm kind of sad to see the paint schemes go away from last week, Carl. I was really enjoying those, but I did see one of the Inca boys out there driving around. I think it was the number 37. So Felipe Ramos still sporting last week's paint scheme, and it was a good one at that too. It was gold and black and a good chrome job on it. And see if I can grab. I don't think he's out. Oh yes, he is. There he is. He's back on the track right now with it. And again, I just am tickled pink on the way the guys participated last week, and even more tickled on how many people voted. And I know they're still voting or getting their last minute votes in before we announce a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate everybody that took the time to get out there and get some Vegas style paints out there. It was pretty cool to see the different styles that guys went, whether they went with your playing cards or your dice or casinos, or we've seen some Vegas strong out there. So it was pretty cool to see all the different styles out there. And yeah, as Jimmy mentioned, we are in the 11th hour here in the voting. You guys have just the 5 minutes in qualifying yet to get your last minute votes in, and we will announce a winner. There's been some strong contenders here, and not going to say it's a two-horse race at this point, but it's a two-horse race at this point. And yeah, unless somebody puts in a massive share and gets a bunch here. So we're keeping an eye on it right now, keeping a hold of the tallies, and we'll announce it here before the race gets underway. But 5 minutes up here now for qualifying, and looks like we got about 18 guys out here tonight, and hopefully these guys are ready to handle the conditions here at Phoenix, because it can get a little hairy here, and certainly seen some guys in a little loose in practice.
Yeah, these guys have, like we talked about just a little bit earlier, 175 laps around here at Phoenix. Roughly a fuel window between 79 and 85 laps, give or take, obviously, depending on how well you can save that fuel. And it looks like the air temperature is going to be right around 90 degrees or so, and that means the track is going to be fairly warm, as I'll go ahead and pull that information up here. Where the heck's that? I'll show the weather right here. Yeah, see that track's at 92, so not too bad, but enough to get them tires nice and slick. And maybe they won't stick too well, or maybe they'll burn them off, and they're going to be really wanting to conserve them tires, as they only have 4 extra sets in the pits here tonight at Phoenix. So we'll see what kind of strategy comes into play as well. A little smaller field, less traffic, and less people out there to cause any issues. So right now it looks like Chris Bouchard on top of the provisional pole with a 27.4, and Grady Gherkin, our points leader, coming in second right now. Tim Glass, an awesome time there, not too far off the leaders there, and then Matt Grayhouse taking that away for that third spot right now. Peter Pazunchik in 5th currently, Eric Jeffers in 6th, Jeremy Little in 7th. So these guys are finishing up. They have about 2.5 more minutes to get their times in the best they can for a good start tonight.
Did I hear that right? Jeremy Little is out there qualifying, and he's not on the pole. He's actually down there in 8th. Did I hear that correct, Jimmy?
Yeah, he's currently sitting at 8th, so maybe had to readjust this, and maybe just had a bad lap, Carl. I mean, Jeremy's good at getting to the front right in the get-go, and You know, he's got some new competition this year, and just I think he's got the rough end of the stick in a few races. You know, unfortunately, wrong spot, wrong time. Pit strategy's just not working out for him, whatever it may be. But I think we'll see him up front tonight. I just have a good feeling about Jeremy tonight, and hopefully we'll see that number 55 to the front.
Well, I mean, there's been how many times where he's qualified on the pole or just off the pole, starting all the way up front, and it's not worked out for him. So maybe he's got that speed in the tank, but he thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and lift before the start-finish line. Go ahead and take a P10 here is where he's sitting right now, and work his way up through the field and try it differently. Instead of starting at the front and sliding back, maybe he's going to start at the back and slide his way to the front. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the ongoing story for the season kind of been two storylines. It's been Grady Gherkin and Chris Bouchard up front, and Eric Jeffers trying to make a late charge here as well. He's in third in the point standings. And then the other storyline has been the kind of the tough luck guys out there, and kind of last couple of guys in line with tough luck is, in my eyes, Matthew Greathouse and Jeremy Little. Those guys are sitting at 9th and 10th in points right now, both with no wins yet on the season. Scott Bolster is actually the highest one in the standings without a win. He's in 7th place right now, but still nobody with more than 2 wins. We've got another one joining the 2-win club. That was Eric Jeffers last week after he didn't have a win since back in the season opener at Daytona. So he was finally grabbing that second win, and it was kind of a little bit of weight off his shoulders. You could tell in the interview that it was kind of like finally, and so maybe that kind of broke it a little bit for him, and maybe he can try and make a good run here at the end. Still 222 or 220 points behind Grady Gherkin coming into this one in 3rd place. Chris Bouchard in 2nd, 135 back. Not sure if the drop races have been factored in yet or not. So we'll see how that works out. But we got this one and 3 more left in the season, but qualifying is now over and the grid is set. Chris Bouchard on the pole. Jimmy, give us a rundown of the rest of them.
Yeah, our qualification results here tonight will be Chris Bouchard on the pole. Alongside will be Trevor Hunt, then Grady Gherkin, Justin Kirby, Matthew Greathouse, Brett Kirby, Jake Lesh, Tim Glass, Peter Pazuchek, Eric Jeffers for your top 10, and then Jeremy Little, Tony Japs, Scott Bolster, Jerry West, Matt Foster, Travis Bennett, Felipe Ramos, Jerry West, Matt Foster, Travis Bennett, Felipe Ramos, Jasper Crawford for our 18-car field here tonight. So there's not even enough guys for me. I have to try to move pages around tonight. So a little on the lower side tonight, but you know, real life happens, and some people step aside to, you know, spend time with the family and whatnot. But Chris Bouchard up front with the pole with Momentum Sim Racing. Speaking of the guys with their teams, our team ratings right now is Full Throttle Motorsports on top right now with 7,544. Then Turn and Burn Racing with 7,519. Mid Pack with 7,448. Then Black Magic with 6,543. Sprunk International is 5,678. Elite with 4,876. And then you have Inca Salsa Racing at 1945, and No Lift Motorsports with 940. So still good championship, team championship going on between the top 3, and we'll see how that finishes out towards the end of the season here. But right now, these guys are getting ready to go, and they will have to follow Chris Bouchard's lead around this track here tonight.
Yeah, last week we came in and the top 3 in the team points were separated, I believe, by 17 points. And it's stretched out a little bit now with Full Throttle grabbing the lead, and they're out there to a 25-point lead. But still, you know, you see how quickly you can fluctuate, and it all depends on how the drivers end up finishing the races here. But still a 3-horse battle in that one. But our 2-horse battle is now finally complete. We're here at race time here at Phoenix. Want to thank everybody, not just the drivers, but all you fans out there that have participated in the vote here to pick your favorite Vegas-style paint scheme and get the winner a custom t-shirt with their truck on it, a custom pint glass with their truck on it, and you know, just can't thank you guys enough for not just tuning in, but helping these guys out. And I will tell you that with 77 thumbs up, 77 votes, Jerry West is not your winner. He actually loses by 30 votes. As for a while, Jerry West looked like he was running away with this thing, but with 104 votes, it is going to be Matthew Greathouse in that 51 Elvis Presley all white, just looking nice and clean and classy, number 51 there. So congrats to Matthew Greathouse. We will go ahead and get with him after the race and make sure we get him everything that he certainly earned by putting that thing out there. It's certainly a good looking paint scheme, and a lot of these guys had just awesome paint schemes. I can't thank them enough. I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to vote for it, but forget all that right now. It is green flag time, and it is off. Chris Bouchard is on the loud pedal and already out there, and no shocker here. The two championship contenders right there in first and second. Grady Gherkin moving himself into second. Trevor Hunt right there in third. Greathouse in fourth. Justin Kirby rounding out your top five, as these guys already may have a caution, as we have the 32 Matt Foster getting sideways into the wall in the back. We'll see if he can get it turned around and straighten back out, as both the good-looking gold Inca trucks back there. Looks like a little bit of a wobble in front of him by Jasper Crawford. Not sure if that made him check up or not, but gets into the inside wall and then the outside wall. So rough start here by Foster, but he will get that Inca machine spun back around and rejoin this pack. But no caution out there right now. These guys are still running, and Bouchard trying to check out here ready.
Yeah, Chris, pedal to the metal, pound to the floorboard. Hey, come chase me, as he's done, race in and race out here past few races. And Grady back on the hunt, chasing him down again. Trevor Hunt back there, another good showing with a great qualification, sitting in third place. Justin Kirby and fourth. Matt Greathouse round out your top five. But the battling doesn't end there. I mean, you got back here in 10th spot, Jeremy Little. He's up a spot, and then the guy on the move right now is Travis Bennett in that number 6 Scott's Retreat.
Yeah, he seems to be on the move just about every week. If he doesn't qualify up front, he finds his way up to the front and pretty quickly. And even when he has issues and gets sent to the back, he finds his way up there. So got to be one of the guys, not sure if it's stat they track, but, most cars passed. I think he's got to go to Travis Bennett this season. But a good run here, looks like, once again, for the 6 machine. And the other one, obviously, that we got to give a shout out to. It looks like he's not in the field. Or actually, he is in the field here tonight. Jerry West, but not in the race right now. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there. If he didn't get in here until just too late, or what the situation is. But he's another one that is usually a hard charger through the field. But we'll see how Chris Bouchard handles this lead now. I mean, we've seen this multiple times now. We've seen him get out to the lead. We've seen him try and stretch out a lead. We've seen him actually stretch out a lead. But then once it gets into the race, not sure if he just wears those tires out or the other guy just save a little bit more. But they end up running him down towards the end of the runs. So we'll see how everything works out this time. Grady Gherkin not letting him go right now, as it's a 2-truck breakaway. And not getting anywhere away from the pack, really only a second back to third place Trevor Hunt. But interesting to see, again, how Bouchard handles this. He's got to be tired of having a dominant truck, getting the pole, getting a good run, leading a bunch of laps, and still not getting that third win.
I mean, there's only one thing you can do, Carl. I mean, leading the whole race is fun and all, but unless you can pull it off and actually finish in that first position, all that hard work kind of goes to waste. So maybe just something he needs to change just a little bit, whether it's his line, whether it's just being a little easier on his tires, maybe changing up his fuel strategy a little bit, get these guys guessing just a little bit more, because they seem to haven't figured out towards the end. Maybe he's just too predictable. But right now, Jake Lesh doing a pretty good job back here. Just keeping an eye on Jake here. See, he's sitting in 7th spot. Grady Gherkin is up 1 position from the start. Still checking out Chris Bouchard. Travis Bennett still on the move, has made his way through the pack around Peter Pazuchek and Jeremy Little. Eric Jeffers, last week's winner, sitting back there in 11th position currently. So, some of these guys are great on short runs, and some of them are a little better on longer runs. So we'll see how this one plays out with a little smaller field. I'm gonna, we've had 1 caution so far, but I think that was a fluke, as the Matt Foster in the 32 just kind of went around a little early, maybe got a little bit on the gas and cold tires. But right now we are 10 laps in of 175. Chris Bouchard's out front with Grady Gherkin in second, Trevor Hunt in third, Justin Kirby in fourth, and Matthew Greathouse rounding out your top 5.
So once again, give a shout out here to our sponsor here for tonight's race, and that is Copperhead, the Copperhead Classic, and this is presented by UCRL. So I want to thank UCRL for being able to put up the sponsor, and again, they're always looking for any kind of help you can offer them. They do have the races sponsored throughout the rest of the series. This one tonight sponsored by Chris Bouchard. So thank the man out front right now. But don't be afraid to reach out and see if there's any way you can help for the rest of the season. Maybe help them out for the season that they got coming up with the old 87 cars. Any way you want to help out, or if you want to straight up get into the league and run with these guys, make sure you get in touch with Scott Bolster, or get in touch with me or Jimmy. We'll certainly point you in the right direction, as they certainly got a heck of a group of truck racers out here, and I'm sure you put them in a different car, they'll be just as good. I mean, they a lot of talent throughout this league.
Yeah, the talent is absolutely outstanding here with the guys at UCRL, and and they're trying to get their name out there just a little bit, and you can help them do that by giving us a thumbs up and liking the video, and it gets shared around a little bit more. And if you want to share our videos, go right ahead, and show everybody what these guys that come out here every Tuesday night and drive these trucks around, what they can do.
It really a shame this thing is already coming to an end. As we said, we got this race and then 3 more left in the season. It feels like we just started not too long ago, but these guys have put on some great races. There's been hiccups along the way, but you're going to have that in any season. Doesn't matter how good the talent is in the series. You're going to have some races that there are going to be some hiccups, but 90%, if not more, of the races have just been fantastic, and a lot of them coming down all the way to the end, or coming down on some crazy differing pit strategies, and guys saving fuel, guys saving tires, whatever it is. So it's always fun to watch all the way to the end. It's just because it's 175 laps, it doesn't matter. You got to tune into all 175, because there's always going to be something happening.
Yeah, right now there's still stuff happening. The first two, Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin, do have a little bit of a lead over third place Justin Kirby. They slid back to about 3 seconds, but everybody back there all the way back to 13th spot. Everybody's battling within a second, half a second of each other, with the exception of Travis Bennett behind Brent Kirby is another second gap there. But these guys are just doing an outstanding job getting around here, and I'm just trying to wonder, are these guys just that fast, or are they just, wearing their tires out? Is Grady just not want Chris to get far away, and maybe he's pushing him, trying to get Chris to wear his tires down even quicker, and maybe he'll get around him here sooner than catching them, 30 laps down the road, as, we do have, our pit windows are right around the, 80 to 85 laps, so it's gonna be interesting, Carl. They're gonna at least 2 stops. I would imagine at least 2 stops tonight, and I could see maybe somebody trying to save that fuel for a 1 pit stops. If it decides to go green the whole way.
Yeah, I was trying to take a look at the intervals there, because it was Trevor Hunt for quite some time there in third before he got passed by Justin Kirby and then Matthew Greathouse as well, but. It's not getting any smaller. I mean, these guys are if anything, keeping it the same. You see right there, just slowly starting to pull away more and more, as it's out to about 3.5 seconds right now. So these guys have been the class of the field so far, only 19 laps into this thing. Again, we've seen this before. I feel like we just seen this last week, where it's been these top 2 guys checking out, and good luck trying to pass him. Last week it looked like Chris Bouchard was going to be untouchable before I believe it was Matthew Greathouse was really good on the long run and finally starting to catch him. But what do these guys have in store tonight? I mean, I never know from week to week. There's been so many times where one truck has looked dominant and they don't finish in the top 5. I mean, last week it was Eric Jeffers kind of coming out of nowhere towards the end of the race and getting it done. So who knows? I guess we're just gonna have to tune in for the next hour or so and find out what happens. But I'm liking that we're seeing a lot of different grooves here. The guys aren't just all diving down towards the bottom. We've seen some guys traveling up towards the top of the track, trying to work that in a little bit, and maybe getting to the bottom midway through the corner, kind of starting in the middle of the track. So differing lines here, and just trying to feel out how the truck feels good. And that could be another situation too, where you have some setups where you want that front, you want that clean air, you want that downforce on your front end, but then you have some other situations where the car actually feels better behind another car. And maybe that's what we're seeing right now with Grady Gherkin, as he's, again, not letting Bouchard get away at all.
Yeah, he's not letting him, get very far. And right here's that dog leg that we're talking about, where the guys, if you're an official, they'll dive right down there and almost take you out in pit lane or even down through here. It's pretty ridiculous sometimes the way the guys abuse below the yellow line here, especially in officials. So it can make it fun, but when the car's when you have a car all the way down there, your spotter, your electronic spotter, won't even tell you have somebody down there, and then they're running out of room and they come up, while you're running the yellow line, and door you to the wall. So Phoenix is a very interesting track. Been here quite a few times with the, with the ARCA cars, or I think I've driven the trucks here as well, and the modifieds. I even ran here a few times when I first started iRacing, and getting out here trying to get my feel on kind of what I wanted to do with iRacing. Broadcasting, I wasn't in the cards, but it just became a neck, and I enjoy watching people race, and you learn a lot from watching people as well.
Yeah, the modifieds, I've always had a liking to, and it could be maybe I grew up near a very, very short track. I think it was so damn short it was a circle. I mean, it was very, very small, like maybe a 5th mile track. It was really small, but they ran the asphalt modifieds there, and some of the guys that I used to root for as a wee little lad were in the modified division, so maybe that's why I've always had a liking to them. But this is one of those tracks where I feel like they run really well. I really like the modifieds on the shorter flat tracks, the 1 mile flat tracks, and here you got Milwaukee, not North Wilkesboro, New Hampshire, another good flat track. It's always been some good tracks for modified racing, but there's a lot of cars that work here at Phoenix. I don't necessarily know how well the NASCARs work. Maybe the new next gens work a little bit better, but I know the older NASCARs just felt like you had to wall them up so much just to keep them down on the bottom and have some good runs. But these guys doing a good job right now in the trucks here, as the setup is certainly working for Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin. Bouchard shaking off Gherkin just a little bit here, as he's out to an 0.8 of a second lead now, as we are on lap 27.
Yeah, and the guys will have to give that thanks to Scott, as Scott not only runs the league and puts on a lot of things, keeps the guys in check, but he also creates the setups for these guys, and he does a pretty good job, because these guys are doing they're able to maintain these cars, keep a good pace, and I haven't heard any complaints about them. I know they like them a little bit looser here. No matter what track they go to, they'd rather them a little loose than tight. So I think I'm the same way. I'd rather the truck or car be a little loose than being tight. I don't like the feeling of my front end going to the wall as I'm leaving a corner. So I guess that bugs me as well. But anyways, Chris Bouchard is keeping that half a second over Grady Gherkin, and those guys are pulling away. They are out there now, a 4.5 second lead over Justin Kirby, and I'm sure Justin Kirby is like, all right guys, slow down so I can start catching up, but we're only 30 laps in. They're only not even halfway through their fuel, and there's plenty of time for mistakes to happen. And with these guys trying to run away, it just takes one caution crawl and they're all grouped back up again.
So as we always do here, we'll put out to you guys, who you out there rooting for, who you like in this race, who you like in the championship hunt for the rest of the season here, and what do you want to see? I mean, we're at your whim, whether it's you like more in-car cameras, you like more bigger cameras, things like that. We're always trying to give the audience what it likes to see us. So we got as always, we got some support out there for Matthew Greathouse, and not just voting for his truck, but always here in the chat. So appreciate everybody out there giving Matthew Greathouse some support, as he is doing good once again, running in 4th place Again, still looking for his maiden win on the season, but he certainly had a lot of opportunities this year.
Yeah, he's had a lot, and just not able to quite, put the nail in the coffin, I guess, and get it, across the start-finish line in that first position. But definitely a lot of good runs, and enjoying his time. You can see the guys getting a little bit loose there, coming off that one turn, getting very close to that wall there, and just having that was the after backstretch, so going into 3 and 4. Yeah, there's a lot of great racing going on right now. I'm sure these guys know that, they need to tick some of these laps away, and excuse me, keep control of their trucks. 32 laps in the books. We're on lap 33. Chris Bouchard is still out front with Grady Gergen behind him by a half a second. They're out over a 5-second lead over Justin Kirby, which is followed by Matt Grayhouse and Trevor Hunt, and then back to a third group with Brent Kirby, Travis Bennett, Jake Lesh, and then back to our fourth group here with Eric Jeffers, Jeremy Little, Peter Pazuchek, Tim Glass, Scott Bolster, Tony Japp. So, the guys back here in about ninth place in single file, but, battling it out back here. Single file, keeping keeping their trucks going around here as best they can. And you can see in this backpack here, the different lines that they're taking, some coming a little, entering a little higher, some running the mid lines. You can see right there, Jeffers running the higher line, and then the 55 of Jeremy Little running the lower line. So many different lines here at Phoenix, and so many different ways to get around here. It's just what works best for you, saving your tires, fuel, whatever it may be. And right now they're doing a pretty good job. Looks like Jeremy Little scraped the wall just a little bit, as I see a little bit of scrape damage on the right side, so having a little trouble maybe coming off along the corners, but able to keep that thing going forward, because he is up one position from the start in 10th.
But it sounds like you at least have a little bit of liking to this track, and it got me wondering, because I thought Phoenix was a 1 mile track, and I know your love for 1 mile and less tracks, but I had to double check, and now it all makes sense, because Phoenix is not a 1 mile track. It is actually a 1.01 mile track. So that explains everything right there. Clearly not a short track. It is over 1 mile. Jimmy Cole approved.
It's got my stamp of approval. It must have been it must be the new change or something. But when you go, if you cut the dog leg, it's definitely under a mile.
Yeah, that's when Jimmy hates it. Anybody gets a dog leg, he hates you, just so you know right now. But all kidding aside, it's a fun little track. It's one of those where it may be kind of shaped like ones that you're used to seeing with the tri-oval, but it's not. It's just completely different from other ones. It's kind of like how Darlington is an oval, but not an oval. It's a weird shaped track. A good battle right here, though, as Bennett trying to get around Brent Kirby here and move up into 6th place. These guys have gotten very close into turn, I guess now it is turn 2. The last time by, but it looks like the 6 gonna slide up again, and Brent Kirby just all over the side of that Miracle Grow truck, and gonna get a little loose coming out of the corner. So Bennett still has not completed that pass, but this pass right here would put him up 10 spots. So certainly got some speed to make his way through the field, but if he can get it done, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. He's really having some trouble getting around Brent Kirby here to try and move up there, but good run now into 3, and doesn't drift off as much this time, so he should have a good run off the corner. But Brent Kirby just will not go away.
He can't quite clear Brent, and Brent's doing a heck of a job. He's squeezing him down there. It's basically, Travis is getting the run. They touch a little bit. The 95 sideways 6 is going down to the infield. And this is what we're talking about, trying to avoid the incident. They will maintain green here as they were able to use up all that infield, well, not infield, but below the yellow line, that apron, and be able to keep it clean. So maybe not the way Travis wanted to get the pass done, but they were able to keep their cars going forward. And we'll go back here on, where's Brent? Brent slid back a few positions after that, but that was one heck of a save, Carl.
from both those guys. Brent had it completely sideways. Travis had plenty of room to chase it down on the inside, but it was Brent that probably had the bigger save there, as he was up there on the track and had to chase that all the way to the outside wall. But good save there. I'm sure he's not happy with the contact. He's not happy sliding back up positions, but would have been a lot worse. Could have had that truck into the outside wall and having to use a fast repair. So still out there, still chugging along, and still fighting for positions here, and certainly going to be hoping for that caution to come out if it does come out anytime soon to get some fresh rubber on that thing. If not, pit window cannot come up any sooner for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about getting, slideways, as we call it. You heat the tires up, and then the car or truck, whatever you're driving, is just not happy. You don't have the grip. It's too hot. It's too sticky. It won't do what you want it to do. You have to, baby your vehicle for 2 or 3 laps and wrangle back in the heat and get them tires even back out so you can get moving again. So, only didn't he lose time, with that slide and catching it. I mean, he didn't wreck his car, but it's going to take him, a few laps to get his tires back under control and get back up to speed fully. And you'll probably see him, start moving forward again, as he was a little bit faster than some of the guys that he fell behind. But Travis was able to, he's still moving forward. So he's up to that 6th spot now, up 10 spots. So starting 16th and then 6th. But he's got a long way to go, as he just got around Eric Jeffers, who was sitting in 7th. But next one up is Trevor Hunt, and he's 3.5 seconds ahead.
Yeah, Travis Bennett still trying to move his way through the field, but he is 12.5 seconds now adrift of the leader. As you see, the 2 different times there on the timing tower there, the gap is from that truck to the leader. The interval is from that truck to the next truck, and in front and behind. So he's about 12, 13 seconds behind the leader himself right now. Chris Bouchard putting on just another clinic here to start this thing, as Grady Gherkin held on to him as long as he could and was within a half a second for a good probably 20, 30 laps of this thing. But now on lap 46, that lead is getting bigger and bigger. It's out to 1.7, almost 1.8 at one point there for Chris Bouchard over Grady Gherkin. And Gherkin, kind of doing the same thing to Justin Kirby, still slowly checking away from 3rd place Justin Kirby.
Yeah, they're starting to get into a little bit of lap traffic, as you see, Matthew Greathouse getting around, what was that, the 32, I believe, of Matt Foster. So, they're just slowly starting to work their way around traffic now, put people a couple laps down, or starting to put people laps down. So Matt Foster 2 laps down currently, as he was tied up in an incident. But if an accident came out, he could get a lap back, and as a lucky dog. I don't know if he'd get lucky enough to get those 2 laps back at all, but these guys are running pretty good here, Carl. We're at 48 laps already of 175. Chris Bouchard's out in front still. Grady Gherkin, Justin Kirby, Matthew Greathouse, Trevor Hunt, still your top 5.
Yeah, and then we got Eric Jeffers, Travis Bennett, Jake Lesh, Jeremy Little, Peter Brazucek rounding out your top 10. And then you got Brent Kirby, Tim Glass, Scott Bolster, Tony Japs, Jasper Crawford, Felipe Ramos, Matt Foster rounding out the guys that are out there on the track. Jerry West looked like he was having some issues. I seen him pop in and out, and just never was able to get in there. So I'm not sure if it's internet issues, iRacing issues, or what the case is. But Jerry West is not going to be in the field tonight, as he's still stuck in the pits right now. He is 45 laps down, so no sense even getting any kind of dirt on that truck, and just pack it up, put it back on the hauler, and come back out next week. But the rest of these guys, doing a phenomenal job so far, but the back of the pack is starting to get a little bit bigger in the windshield of Chris Bouchard, who's going to start catching the rest of the lap traffic pretty soon here.
Yeah, he's closing in pretty quickly, as that number 77 or 28, I guess his number hasn't changed from last week, because he was doing a wasn't he? He was doing a throwback to somebody. So but anyways, he's still out here in the number 28 car, 2 seconds up, and it looks like the lead is starting to kind of balance out a little bit. It looks like Grady's gaining a little bit here, losing him a little bit here. So I think that long run is starting to get to him.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe Gherkin just had to back off a little bit so he can then turn around and reel him back in a little. So we'll see how it starts to play out. As you see right there, this lap, still gaining a little bit on him as he gained 13 thousandths of a second on that one, but not as much as he's been gaining. So maybe starting to, like you said, level out a little bit, and maybe it starts to take that turn, and Gherkin can start reeling him back in. Still got 2 seconds to reel back in now, and you wonder how long these guys are going to go, because at this point, you kind of need to start figuring out, are you going to make this thing a two-stop race, or try and figure out how to make this thing a one-stop race? Because if you're going to make it a two, it's getting close to that point where if you want to split this thing into thirds and kind of have the best set of tires all the way through, right around now is when you're going to start thinking about coming to the pits.
Yeah, I never even thought about that strategy, just splitting up in thirds to have fresher tires. I'm wondering, I mean, they qualified, if we look at our, let's see, fastest laps, it looks like, I don't see it, 27.6. They are roughly a second and a half slower than, when they were on fresh tires.
And that's a huge deal over the run here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody in the top 5, top 10 try and do a little short pit action here and get out there, because I mean, you look at what 1.5 seconds to do in one lap, that's just about the lead. So in 2 laps, Grady Gherkin will be able to catch and pass Chris Bouchard with that math right there. So very, very quickly could the tables turn, but who makes that move first? I mean, that's really what the question is who kind of plays that first card and dives in there, or are all these guys trying to make it on that one-stop strategy? I mean, it's great having those fresh tires and splitting this thing into thirds, but we've seen Chris Bouchard do that before. We've seen Chris Bouchard, try and make the extra pit stop and get it back on speed, and just wasn't able to do it. So, just like always, the chess match is just always fun to try and think for these drivers. Think of what the moves are. 10 moves ahead for these drivers, but you never know until we actually see them do it.
Yeah, I do not know. I mean, I'd like to know, because I'd like to get better myself at some of these thought processes, and making sure that I would make a smart decision, and I can only think about what I would do, and most people will be like, I'll just run this thing till empty and I'll fill it back up and I'm good to go. And if everybody's out there, but you're not gaining anything and you're losing position, so now these thoughts start going through your head, how can I change this up and put myself in a better position? So there's just a lot of different, that chess match mentality on what you want to do and how much fuel you want to take. Do I take 2 tires? Do I take 4 tires? What's going to work best for me to put me in the best position for at the end?
And then you got to think about the points too. I mean, if I'm Grady Gherkin sitting there in second place, do I go for the win? If I'm going for the win, I'm trying to get that short pit. I'm trying to pit before Chris Bouchard, make up that interval, try and get out in front of him by the time he comes out of the pits, and trying to hold him off for a little bit, make him drive in some dirty air a little bit, see how that works out. But if I'm going for points, I'm probably doing the exact opposite. I'm probably going as long as I can with this truck, just riding this thing out and getting the fresh tires then, and passing a couple people at the end if I have to. But all in all, he's in a safe spot right now. He's 2.5 seconds to the truck in front of him, another 5 seconds to the truck behind him. So he's kind of in just a safe space. He's safe where he's at right now. So.
Oh, and speaking of the devil, somebody making a choice early. So be a good follow along here with Jeremy Little coming in the pits early. So I don't know if it's because he's got a little bit too much damage on that right side, or if he's just going to try to change it up just a little bit and be one of the first. But it looks like all the talk here looks like Grady Gherkin coming in as well.
And there it is, the short pit from second place there. Travis Bennett also in the pits as well. So these guys are doing what I'm expecting here is splitting this thing up into thirds as we are on lap 61. So you figure 60, 60, 60s is going to get you past that final lap right there. So splitting it into thirds here as getting busy, and our leader now in the pits as well, so he's not going to let Gherkin short pit him and get into the lead. He's going to hop right in the pits here on the next lap, and that's going to surrender the lead to Justin Kirby now, and Matthew Greathouse in second. We'll see if these guys are going to make a dive into the pits. Not this lap, at least. Now, if I'm these guys here, if I'm Kirby and Greathouse, Jeffers, Lesh, all these guys that have stayed out, I'm doing the latter. You know, the leader's already come in. I was already losing time to the leader. I was already, you know, falling backwards. Now this is the change of strategy, because if they pit right now, it's just going to be status quo. They're going to come back out. Yeah, they'll have fresh tires, but so is the leader, and they're just going to keep checking out further and further. So you got to try something different. Now, you know, they have the leader and all those other guys a lap down. So if a caution comes out here, they are in the absolute catbird seat. Now they get their free pit stop, and at best, you know, you'll have Chris Bouchard getting back on the lead lap with the lucky dog, but they're in prime position right now, so this is their play right now. But you're seeing Chris Bouchard right there in the picture. He's going to try and get his lap back I'd say the hard way, but I think it's going to be pretty damn easy.
Yeah, I mean, he's right on the back bumper of Justin right now in order to get that lap back, and then, you know, and I'm sure that, you know, Grady is like, you hurry up, get around him so I can be in that lucky dog spot. So, you know, right now, you know, Richard is back on the lead lap, tail end of the lead lap. But it looks like Brett Kirby is going to go down the pits. So his brother going in a little bit earlier, and Justin's going to stay out and lead a few more laps. But Grady Gherkin coming up quickly on Justin Kirby.
Yeah, and you've seen for a second there, it was all the way down to 1.5 seconds between. Actually, sorry, I was looking at the wrong time in there. I was looking at the time between Justin Kirby and Matthew Greathouse, but looking at the time between Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin, you see it right there. It's only 1.2 seconds, as the gap was about 2.5 seconds before they came into the pits. Grady Gherkin coming in 1 lap sooner. Got him a good chunk back. I mean, I got him 1.3 second back. He halved the lead that Bouchard had on him. But now Bouchard has 1 lap newer tires, so you'll see him slowly start to creep away, but you see what that short pit can do for you.
Yeah, he was able to get that advantage, that 1 lap of, you know, being out there on fresher tires, and it's going to, you know, even out here as laps go by.
So still waiting for quite a few drivers to hit pit lane. The top 8 right now have yet to hit pit lane. And then you got 9th place Bouchard and Gherkin, the first 2 guys on the lead lap that have hit pit lane. Trevor Hunt, the first one a lap down. He's in your lucky dog spot right now. But waiting to see, it looks like now Matthew Greathouse going to be the next one to play his cards and come into pit lane. So really now it gets down to, can these guys, you know, stretch this thing out even further? I think it's a pretty tall ask to get this thing all the way to halfway and try and make this thing a one-stop race. But if you've been saving this entire way and you know, not going hard at all, never know. I guess we'll see when the last guys come into the pits here. But Matthew Greathouse in right now. Tim Glass is also in, so that's going to leave the top 6 that are out there still not yet to come into the pits. Eric Jeffers out there now in 2nd place, and he's probably at this point also trying to stay out there, maybe grab a lap lead before he's got to come in. But Justin Kirby's still out there by himself and trying to stretch the thing out as far as he can. Now, I've never been one to, you know, go into absolute full conservation mode, you know, even if I think I can make this thing all the way to the end. But, you know, given the fact that he's got the lead that he's got here, do you take that chance? Do you take that chance of just really letting off to try and save some fuel, regardless if it makes you to halfway or not? You know, even if you take that second pit, you're not going to take that much fuel. You know, if you're pitting now on lap, say, 140, if you would come in right now and do the same thing on the second stint, you're only taking, you know, not even a half a tank of fuel, so it's going to be a shorter pit stop. But it's kind of, this is where Formula One really knows how to play it. You know, as they have tons of guys on the in the crew, on the wall, running down all the calculations. You know, if we pit now, where are we going to come out? If we, you know, pit in 5 laps, you know, what's the gap going to be? if we do a double stop, or if we do a single stop, that there's so many calculations to go on, but you really kind of need that in racing right here too. And I'm sure most, if not all of these guys are trying to do all these calculations by themselves.
One of the tools that I use is a Z1 dashboard, and I've gone away from it for quite a while, and I just start coming back to it. But a lot of things that'll help you out with is like when you come down in the pits, it kind of gives you an idea where you come out, like who you'd be around. So like, if I pit now, I'd be in the pack of like 30 cars or 10 cars or whatever it may be. I don't want to pit now, so I wait a little bit, and maybe I fell back a little bit more or something, and now I'm only going to be around like 5 cars. So you just get a better exit around people. But it looks like Justin Kirby going to relinquish that lead here on lap 73. So I'm not sure if it's just the time that he's losing, or if it's just the gas is about up. So Chris Richard is making his way back up through the pack as he just got around Peter Przuchek, as Peter is going into the pits as well. Chris Richard will be in second, still chasing down, well, actually still chasing down Justin Kirby, but Justin's in the pits. So Chris Richard will get back to the lead, with Grady Gherkin in second. And back to 2.2 seconds for separates first and second, as all things kind of are rounded out here. And it looks like Jasper Crawford, I think, is one of the few trucks still remaining out there on the old set of tires.
Yeah, he is the last one that looks like needs to come into the pits yet, and is unfortunately not even going to be able to get a lap led, as Bouchard and Gherkin have already gotten by him, so he's running in third right now. But interesting to see where Trevor Hunt comes out. It looks like he's going to come out in third, so he will stay in third even though he pits quite a bit later. So we'll see how those tires now can work for him, as coming out he's 11.9 seconds back, call it 12 seconds back from the leader. So we'll see how much he can kind of cut back into that lead and maybe change this race around for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the chance he took for whatever he decided to do in the pits. And if you look down at the pit lane time, how close these guys are with their pit lane time. So that's coming down the pits.
Easy for you to say, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's the time that these guys came down in the pit lane, got in their pit box, took all their fuel and tires, and got back out. But they're so close. 55 seconds for Chris Bouchard, Grady Gherkin at 54.5. Trevor Hunt 54.9, Matt Grayhouse 54.7. So these guys are really close with their pit strategies and able to enter in the pits. So looks like Eric Jeffers had a little bit of trouble there with a 69.7. So could have just had to take a little bit more fuel, or he slowed down just a little bit earlier. Getting slowed down to not get speeding on pit lane.
I mean, you see, it's one of those things where everybody thinks, I got to make time up on the track. But in a race where you're going to have to pit multiple times, let alone, one time, you make up a ton of time on pit road. And the guys that don't practice pitting are just going to get left behind, in my opinion. I mean, you really need to make sure that you can pit with quality. You can get down there, get as much speed as you can getting into pit lane without getting a penalty, hitting that line at the correct speed, keeping the maximum amount of speed all the way down pit road, getting into your pit box clean, not sliding the tires, going in, going out, anything like that, getting right back up to speed as quick as you can and holding that maximum speed all the way out. It's really an art, and it can make a ton of time up. I mean, you look at the time difference between, say Brent Kirby there in ninth place and your leader, Chris Bouchard. Chris has been the dominant car this entire race here so far, but that's 1.4 seconds that you gain for free on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take any free time I can get when it comes to on the track. These guys, there's not too much battling going on for position, with the exception back here in 14th position with Tony Japs and Felipe Ramos, as they're side by side, as Tony is just at the underside in that Tide machine. So a lot of good racing going on here. They're kind of spread out. As you can see at the track map, the little Skittles are pretty separated there. But Travis Bennett still, he's up 8 positions, kind of stalled out there around 8th place.
Yeah, he got up as high as 6th position before the pit cycle came through there, and he was one that pit kind of early as well. So interesting to see that he's fallen back there. But the other one that's fallen back a little bit has been Justin Kirby. He was actually up there. He was in the lead for quite some time before he finally came in, and still stuck back there in 5th place. So trying to run down Trevor Hunt and Matthew Greathouse, who is now in 3rd place. So we'll see if Greathouse can try and run down these leaders. He is, looks like 11, call it 13 seconds back from the leader, 11 seconds back from 2nd place right now. But it is still the top 2 guys for the entire race so far, Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin out there. Bouchard now with about a 2.5 second lead over Gherkin, and we are pretty much at our halfway point, just about there. So it's about that time where, even though these guys are separated pretty well, we can still let these engines roar and give you a little love to hear it.
Yeah, we'll turn up the sound just a tad, turn us off for a few minutes, and let you guys just hear the sounds of the trucks with a little bit of love to hear it. nothing like a short little break here, but great downs here. The trucks at Phoenix with the Man Cave After Dark Truck Series. Chris Richard is still out in the lead by 3.6 seconds over Grady Gherkin, that is in second place. Matt Grayhouse in third. Justin Kirby in fourth. Trevor Hunt as you round out your top five. And you have Jake Lesh, Jeremy Little, Travis Bennett, Eric Jeffers, and Brent Kirby for our top 10. And then Tim Glass, Scott Bolster, Tony Japs, Peter Pursuchek, Jasper Crawford, Felipe Ramos, and Matt Foster rounded out our 17 truck field as Jerry West had I think he just had some technical issues tonight and decided not to bring the truck out of the hauler. But Carl, this thing's we're at 95 laps completed. We're on lap 96, and we're in the second half now.
It's still all Bouchard out front. The 77/28 is again doing a fantastic job out there, and it's to the point where he's very close to lapping all the way up into the top five. I mean, only a couple more seconds up the road, you see Travis Bennett right in front of him. That's the Travis Bennett that's been running through this field and is up 8 positions. He is only 2 trucks in between him before the leader is right there to lap him, and then you see right in front of him is Jeremy Little. He is in 7th place, so that is a battle for position right now, but both of those guys are just seconds away from being lapped by the leader. And then not too far up the road, Jake Lesh in 6th place. So, I mean, it's been a 2-truck breakaway for a while, and now it seems like it's a 1-truck breakaway as Bouchard has put about 4 seconds in between him and Grady Gherkin, and a ton of time in between the rest of the field. And it's been a while since we've seen this kind of domination by one driver to the point of, damn near lapping the field.
Yeah, he's put on a clinic tonight and really has control of that truck here and has been able to work the traffic and get around him nice and smoothly. Good pit stop for him this last go around. I'm sure they'll be looking to get at least one more good pit stop here to round this thing off to the end. And right now it's just looking, does anybody have anything for Chris? Is Grady just going to run this thing out in second, as he's got a commanding lead over Matt Grayhouse, to capture that second place? And, then, Matt's got his hands full, though, so about only half a second behind Matt is Justin Kirby. So a battle's starting to brew between here as Justin Kirby is starting to track down Matthew Greathouse for that 3rd position. And then Trevor Hunt still about 3 seconds back in that 5th position behind Justin Kirby currently. And then Jake Lesh got a nice little bubble there as he's got some time in front of him, and he's got some time behind him, and all he needs to do is just kind of stay out of trouble and just get himself a good finish here tonight. And Travis Bennett, obviously I don't think Travis wants to stay behind Jeremy too long, as Chris Richard has made the Inca boys and looking to get by Travis Bennett here shortly, as he is on the coattails, and it won't be long here before Travis is going to have his mirror pool of that 28 machine, Chris Richard.
And it's kind of crazy. I mean, the person that's in the lucky dog position right now in the top 10 is your winner from last week, Eric Jeffers. I mean, it just goes to show you the domination that's being put on right now by Chris Bouchard. So not only is he lapping a bunch of guys, but I mean, lapping last week's leader, that's amazing. And he's had the speed a lot this year and just had some bad luck and not getting the wins, but he's also had some good luck in getting up there, and that's why he's in 2nd place in the points. But it's got to feel a little sobering too, that he's out there dominating so much and just clearly the class of the field here tonight. But the leader is right behind him. The leader in points is right behind him still. Grady Gherkin right there in second. It seems like, same song, different verse from last week, from the week before, from a lot of these races here this year that, Chris Bouchard has got the truck to beat, but the points leader right behind him, and he's really not going to gain hardly anything on Grady Gherkin here tonight. So I guess, if you're Grady, you got to feel good about this. You may not have the winning truck here tonight, but you're winning when it comes to the points battle.
Yeah, the points battle is, it's not a battle. It's a long time war that you're trying to win over these great drivers out here, and everybody is fast. Not one of these guys is like horrible or anything. I mean, they've run circles around me, Carl. I love the trucks. And these guys are they impress me like week in, week out, how their awareness, their avoidance of wrecks, their camaraderie between them all, just to come out here every week and keep running. They finish this thing through. They've started the season together. They're going to end it. We're so many weeks in and only a few more races to go, but here's Chris Bouchard going underneath Travis Bennett right now, and yeah, he is now by Travis Bennett, trying to continue his march forward to, I think maybe his goal is to make sure everybody's a lap down, and he is on pace to do so. So we'll see if Chris Bouchard can capture that feat here tonight as he looks to overtake Jeremy Little, which is next in his sights. And Jeremy Little is in seventh place. So, as Chris Bouchard goes by, whoever's the last person, as he does make a pass by Jeremy Little, and Jeremy's gonna kind of rebuttal there just a little bit and look down to that inside. Ooh, see Chris got just a little loose there, a little smoke off the wall. So hopefully there's nothing but maybe netcode scrapage, but it's getting a little bit harder, I think, for Chris to get by some of these guys, as they're not quite as slow as the guys in the back.
I think it's time to give a little shout out to Jake Lesh too. He's been running really good these last couple weeks, and running right now in 6th place. Kind of by himself right now. He's got about 6 seconds behind the top 5 right now, with Trevor Hunt up there in 5th. But another good quality run here by Jake Lesh. So I certainly want to give him his time in the sun here and give him a little shout out here, as he had one of my favorite paint schemes from last week. Unfortunately, didn't get the votes to get in the running, but back in the normal paint scheme here tonight. But doing a really good job out here. And unfortunately, he is the next target on the hit list for Chris Bouchard here tonight, and when it comes to lapping these guys. But yeah, just a great job just outside the top 5 right now.
Yeah, he's not too far back, to be honest. I mean, he's 6 seconds back from Trevor Hunt. So, I mean, he's there if something were to happen, and, he's putting up a great run here. I think he's getting held up a little bit by some of the lap cars. Maybe he just can't quite make the move. But if he wants to stay on this lead lap and a little bit longer, he's going to need to make his way around, as Chris Bouchard is definitely on the hunt. And we are down to about 65 laps remaining. And I'd sit here for another 165 laps. I mean, these guys they're fun to watch, and I know it's a little uneventful tonight, but that's good. I mean, these guys are racing hard. It's clean racing, and I'm sure these guys are having fun, unless they're just not happy with the setup of the truck. So, but you can see these guys are still able to hug that yellow line. And Jake Lesh is going to go around Peter Pazuchek, now looking around to get around the 59 of the 89 of Jasper Crawford. So put another truck in between him and that leader that's coming on fast.
Yeah, if we're sticking around here for another 100 laps, I'm going to need at least one more. Love to hear it to get me but yeah, I mean, it's I can't say it enough. It's not often that we've seen a domination like this for an entire race. I mean, usually there's at least one caution to kind of break it up a little bit, but these guys have gone with long green flag runs before. But to see one truck just kind of break out like this and have this kind of domination, you got to think back to probably some other Chris Bouchard moments where he's dominated the race. So we'll see if he can finally close this thing out and put a stamp on it and grab his 3rd win of the season. Yeah, he's not going to gain much on Grady Gherkin, but every little bit counts right now, especially late here in the season. And right now, Justin Kirby finally getting to the back bumper of that 51 of Matthew Greathouse as they battle for 3rd. A little bit earlier, Travis Bennett finally able to make that pass on Jeremy Little to move up into 7th. But this is the closest battle on the track, as you see right there, just less than half a second separating 3rd and 4th right now.
Yeah, this is one of the battles up front here, as Justin's been doing a pretty good job tonight. He started 4th, he's still 4th. Matt Greyhouse is up 2 spots from his start, as he started 5th tonight. Grady Gherkin started 3rd and in 2nd, but Travis Bennett still being our biggest mover of the night, up 9 positions, sitting in that 7th spot. Jasper Crawford, even though he's a lap down, he's still up 5 spots from the beginning, and that's always, it's always good. I feel good about when I start a race, and if I have a bad start, maybe it's just bad luck or don't like the track too much, and if you can finish better than what you started, I call that a win in my book, and and hopefully next time you visit that track, or maybe later that week if you're running officials, or later that day, as I used to run them back to back to back to back. Like I'd run like 10 races a day or a night, as many as I could, I was really hooked when I got hooked into this iRacing simulator game, or whatever you want to call it. It's addicting. And then you get to meet people, and you start hanging out, and you have like a small community as these leagues put on, and provide you with some quality racing. The same people every week, so you kind of know how people race around each other, and that's how these guys are able to make the calls, or just feel comfortable going too wide in the corners, like we've seen earlier, even though it ended up in somebody getting a little loose, but that was just each person trusted each other to drive that close.
I gotta tell you, Jimmy, it is the 11 o'clock hour now, so I don't want to say this is potentially our last broadcast, because I think even if I hit that 1.1 billion mega millions here tonight, I think I'd still have some time to put on some of these broadcasts, because it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun way to spend some time, hang out with you, and call some of these races and watch some good racing. And I know for some of you guys out there, this may seem like a kind of boring ho-hum race, but again, like Jimmy said, it's because these guys are driving so well. I mean, they're the ones that aren't causing any cautions. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, these guys are doing a phenomenal job, and we're seeing a clinic put on by Chris Bouchard, and really, for that matter, by Grady Gherkin as well. I mean, would have had Chris Bouchard out of this race, and Grady Gherkin's got just as big of a lead, actually bigger, over Matthew Greathouse. He's out there to an 8.7 second lead. So these guys have clearly been the top two here tonight. Bouchard just got that little bit more, but we are down to 56 laps to go in this thing before Chris Bouchard maybe finally grabs win number 3.
And you just seen Jeremy Little was just in the pits for what would look like to be his final pit stop for tonight. We're at lap 120, or 120 laps in the books. We're on one lap to 121 now. So who's going to come in and try to short pit out of these top 5 and try to gain some time? Grady Gherkin would be my guess, as he is now entering the pits as I just start talking about it, and so maybe he's listening, or we're just on the same wavelength. But I don't think I'm championship material for the Man Cave After Dark Truck Series. I think I'll just stick up in the booth.
Yeah, and no shocker right there, Chris Bouchard not wasting any time. I was thinking that maybe he'd give it a lap or two, just because he's got that big lead, but you see him coming in hot and heavy, and the only thing you don't want to do is get a pit road penalty. See him locking it up pretty hard there coming in. I mean, he's got a huge lead. Do not throw it away on a silly mistake in pit road. So hopefully you get the thing wound up and doesn't get it's a big penalty. It's a 40-second penalty. That is huge at this point in the race.
Yeah, not something that you want to do, as we were just saying how close everybody is, as Grady Gherkin back out on the track. He was able to come up on the track with nobody around him, so free air in front of him. It looks like Matthew Greathouse will take over the lead, so I'm not sure if Matt has led a lap yet tonight, but if not, he'll get that extra point for leading that lap. Justin Kirby is in second, Trevor Hunt in third, Jake Lesh moves up to fourth, Travis Bennett in fifth, Eric Jeffers in sixth, Brett Kirby is in seventh. So Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin are now eighth and ninth. They are on the lead lap if our caution were to come out at this time, but we'll see how this all rounds out here. It looks like still about 4 seconds in between Chris Bouchard and Grady Gherkin, so really kind of interested to see how well these guys make out, and hopefully, well, if Chris basically ends up back in the lead, we know that he was able to get that truck load up, as we've seen that little bit of slide, which probably cost him a little bit of time. Carl, you know, it's not seconds worth, but enough to make you like, whoa, you know.
Exactly, brown pants moment there, if you will. But I am looking in, and I'm wondering if Grady Gherkin elected for 2 tires, because I'm looking at the pit road times, and everybody's been in the 14, 15, 16 second range, and Gherkin is there with a 12.87. So I'm wondering if maybe he elected to grab 2 tires to see if he can try and shake things up a little bit. If he did, I would call that a surprising move. I mean, you know, especially with the points on the line, you don't want to take a chance of coming out and all of a sudden that truck is just snappy on you, and you ruin your race and ruin a really, really good points finish with you know, a good chance finishing here in second.
It could have been. It could have been just. It also could have been maybe just that less. Maybe save some fuel. Maybe Chris just decided to fill his tank all the way up, and maybe Grady's like, I don't need a full tank, because they came in at lap 50. So, you know, we're talking, you know, them windows, you know, and just maybe one of those choices that they decided to make. Maybe Chris didn't adjust fuel and Grady did. So there's a lot of things that could be the kind of make up that little bit of difference, because it looks like about a second for those two in the pits.
So Chris Bouchard is going to shuffle back out to the lead. Still got a few trucks to enter pit road. You got Eric Jeffers in second, Scott Bolster and Tony Japs in 6th and 7th, and Jasper Crawford there in 9th. All those drivers still have yet to hit pit lane. So we'll see when they do it. You see Eric Jeffers now coming into pit lane, relinquishing 2nd place. So that's going to move Grady Gherkin back into 2nd. So back to 1st and 2nd for Bouchard and Gherkin. And Justin Kirby going to move himself into 3rd, as he was able to get around Matthew Greathouse in that cycle right there. As Greathouse is going to fall to 4th. And we still wait to see when Bolster's going to come in. So that's probably going to give the 5th place up to Trevor Hunt.
Yeah, it's those guys coming in from using lap 73 was when they last got fuel, so only a few of them left. Tony Japp still hanging out there, making that fuel stretch, as he was in on lap 71. Jasper Crawford moving up in that 8th position, landing on lap 76. A couple too many laps remaining for them guys to make it all the way, so they will be stopping. It's just a matter of when, and they want to come back in. But Chris Bouchard back out to the lead over Grady Gherkin with a 7-second lead, and I think, Carl, we are up here our largest interval between the leader in 2nd place and then back in 3rd place, 9 seconds back to Justin Kirby and Matt Greathouse. 3.5 seconds back. So Justin having a great pit stop, able to make that position and that move around Matthew Greathouse.
Yeah, if we can get the pit times up there, I mean, you can see the big difference on the pit times. But yeah, I could be wrong, but I feel like this is probably the biggest lead that we've seen all season for a leader and for 2nd to 3rd. So it's pretty crazy what we're seeing here tonight. But first time for everything. But yeah, I mean, you take a look as they came into the pits. Justin Kirby was behind Matthew Greathouse. He was reeling him in, but he was still, you know, a good half a second behind him, and still not just there to make that pass. But you look at that pit time right there, almost 3.5 seconds gained on pit road. And that has equated to not only Justin Kirby getting out in front of Matthew Greathouse, but kind of checking out a little bit too. I mean, that's how huge a great pit stop can be, and that's not him coming in and, you know, taking 2 tires or anything like that. That is just, you know, hitting your marks coming in, hitting your marks going out, hitting your marks at the pit stall. Everything was just absolutely on point for Justin Kirby compared to Matthew Greathouse losing out here in a little bit. Still in 4th place, you know, still a good run here for Greathouse, but it just goes to show you what can be made and lost on pit road.
Yeah, and you know, that's really shown here by green flag pit stops, and you know, running good laps, clean laps is always important. That'll never change. Being able to run a fast lap so you can qualify is, you know, always good for some of these tracks where track position is key. on some of these, once you start getting in these longer races where they're just out here running lap after lap after lap. I mean, we're here on lap 135. We have 5 guys on the lead lap. So Chris Bouchard, Grady Gherkin, Justin Kirby, and Matt Grayhouse and Trevor Hunt still on the lead lap, doing a great job. Everybody out here doing a great job. But when you can make up a difference like Justin Kirby did in the pits, the 3 seconds, that gained him a position. You know, that one lap, or that one pit stop was able to get him out front of Matthew Grayhouse. That's not having a bad run. He's just as fast. They're running pretty much the same lap times. But Chris Bouchard just turned in a 28-second lap, or 28.8. So he's flying. He's still flying. He's been flying all night, and he's got to have it. I'm not knocking on some wood, but you know, unless something happens, I think he's going to end up coming home with a checker tonight.
Yeah, and not only that, I think we're going to see well, I don't think we're going to. This is definitely going to be the most cars gone down a lap here and the least on the lead lap to finish this race, as right now only 5 on the lead lap, but it's soon going to be down to 4, as Trevor Hunt not too far up the road in front of Chris Bouchard. Just got the one car, Felipe Ramos, in between those guys right now. So we're about to see only 4 guys on the lead lap, and then again, Bouchard sets his sights on the top 4 at that point. So how many trucks can he pass at this point and lap before this thing is over? I guess that's really the race inside the race at this point, as the lead is out to over 11 seconds right now. But kind of interesting, as the lead from second to third is shrinking. It was up to 8 seconds, down to 5, and still shrinking. So I'm wondering if I may have been right, and that was Gherkin taking 2 tires, and they are not paying off for him right now, because that gap is closing and closing fast.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Grady couldn't quite catch him, and Chris, and he just decided to gamble. Yeah, and maybe this week wasn't the week of Vegas to take that gamble, as, I mean, he still has second place. He's still got a nice lead over Justin Kirby, but Justin Kirby is able to, you know, he's starting to make things shrink. So making Grady's going to be looking in the mirror shortly, and looking to see if Justin, how hard he's going to push him to get around. So I believe that Justin is going to catch Grady. It's just a matter of, is he going to have enough tire to get around him, as maybe Grady at this point is he's relaxed a little bit on his tires, just a little bit, knowing that this battle is about to ensue here in you know, probably about 10 laps.
Yeah, Kirby does have 3-lap newer tires than Grady Gherkin, coming in 3 laps later. So that is certainly going to help him out when it comes to the closing speed. But yeah, how much can Grady Gherkin fight, and how much does he want to fight to keep that second place, as he's got to think about the bigger picture here. And maybe this plays into Bouchard's hands a little bit, and he can finally actually gain some ground on Grady Gherkin before this championship season is over. But as we said, only 3 races left in the season after this one, and that is going to be next week at North Wilkesboro. So hide your children, Jimmy. It is a short track.
No.
Start your drinking now. Whatever it is, you know, calm yourself, calm your nerves. You won't be out there in the track. That's really what it comes down to. You're going to be up here in the booth with me.
It's the last one. It's the last one, though.
We'll get you a Snuggie, you know, we'll get you, what do they call those, Thunder Jackets or something like that for the dogs, you know, whatever it is, helps you get through a short track. Yeah, that is what's on tap for next week. 175 laps there at North Wilkesboro. Then we got Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway, for those that have, you know, known it for the longest time. And that is going to be 140 laps there at the 1 1/4 mile oval. And then you have Charlotte Motor Speedway to finish out the season with 117 laps. But we have got 32 laps here to go, and again, Chris Bouchard just doing a phenomenal job, out to 14 seconds now, as Gherkin just sliding back even further. The gap now under 2 seconds back to Justin Kirby. So Kirby is on a move, and Matthew Greathouse isn't too far behind either. So Gherkin can quickly go from second back to fourth.
Yeah, and you know, we stopped talking about Travis just for a little bit, and because he kind of like went back, just a little bit, but he's gotten around Scott Bolster, which has been quietly sitting in the top 10 all night. So the league owner and out there running in that 45 Scooby-Doo machine, having a good night again. So if you're wondering why Scott's up there in 7th place in points, it's Mr. Consistent, being right there and just in that top 10, sitting there and watching this guy is probably proud that put this thing on, and the guys praise him a lot and give him the thanks that he deserves for running these things, because I know just being an admin of another league and helping out, and to hear people say thank you is just it helps you keep coming back every week, and to do the things that not only that you like, that that other people enjoy as well. So but yeah, Travis is out there moving his way forward. He's currently up in that 6th spot, the last guy on the lead lap there, as he's going to try to track down Trevor Hunt, as he's got about 8 seconds to go, and about 30, a little over 30 or less than 30 laps are remaining here, as we are in the dark at Phoenix. Our sponsor, the Copperhead Classic 175, with the UCRL guys, Man Cave After Dark Truck Series, is Chris Richard paving the way, 15.3 second lead over Grady Gherkin, and then Justin Kirby is now on the coattails of Grady Gherkin. So I think you're right, Carl. Grady decided to try a 2-tire stop to see if it would work, and I'm sure if we can finish us on the podium, we will be able to talk to him and see if that's the decision he made. But right now, it's all Justin Kirby on the back of Grady Gherkin.
Yeah, and the way it's running right here, I'm not sure we'll see him on the podium, as, again, Matthew Greathouse has not exactly fallen back from Justin Kirby. If anything, he's been keeping it steady or gaining a little bit. So he should be not too far behind the battle right here once these guys figure it out, and once I think really
he's in the picture, that's for sure.
That's Justin Kirby. I mean, if you're Gherkin, you just got to let him go by at this point. He caught you pretty quickly. Just surrender it, try and minimize the damage. Maybe grab onto the back of him, grab a little bit of a draft, and hope that you can stay out in front of Matthew Greathouse and grab a podium. But either way, he's in line that he's looking for at minimum a top 5. Probably 4th place if Matthew Greathouse gets to him, who is certainly going to be making a charge. Only 1.9 seconds back to Greathouse at this point, but Kirby able to make that pass. He's got 15.8 seconds to make up in 26 laps. Jimmy, you think he can do it?
I mean, he's got a chance. I mean, there's all he has the ability, we'll put it that way. And see Grady
right,
running
he can close that gap. You're right, there is a chance.
Yeah. There's a chance for Travis. Somebody calls a caution, somebody calls a team Hail Mary. It says, "Hey,
is your arm scratching over there? Your arm's a little itchy." Yeah. All right.
I think your wheel just broke, or whatever it may be. And get Travis back on that lead lap, and possibly fight his way up front, because Travis was, he's had a great race, and excuse me, Trevor. And even Travis has had a great race, but all these guys are just doing a great job up here, as we're kind of riding on board here with Matt Greathouse, as he's trucking down Grady Gherkin, as that trying to stay ahead of him by 2 seconds. But it looks like Scott Bolster is giving Grady Gherkin a little run for his money here, as he's down to the inside. So that's not for position. So what is up with the 51 machine?
Sliding back a little bit there, so not sure if he had a rough corner or what the case was.
Very well possible.
But yeah, these guys, I'm not sure if he's going to tune in the broadcast or not, but one of the drivers we have in our other league over in Core, Abiy Vishwabasim, it's one of those times where the guys need him on the team, just so he can going down the backstretch of Monza and deciding to scratch his leg and bring out a caution. That's exactly what they need right now, is somebody to scratch their leg and bring out a caution. But yeah, I'm surprised that Greathouse is kind of, I don't want to say sliding back a little bit, but
Well, I want to check to
It
see
seems like
when
that
those
handling's
guys.
gone away a little bit.
I want to see when those guys were last in. So Scott Bolster came in on lap 147 with some to grab some new tires as he was able to get around. So it wasn't 51 slowing down. It was just Scott in the 45. He got some newer tires along with Tony Japs. They were both in. Tony Japs was coming in at 142. So that's what happened there. That's why he was able to go down. But it did make me wonder if there was something wrong with the 51 car. But here it was just Scott went ahead and got himself some new tires as this track is ending down the race here. As Scott's gonna make a push forward here and hopefully get back up to the top 10 as he's got his sights on Jake Lechbear in 11th spot.
Well, it wasn't the other trucks that I was looking at, though. It was actually the interval. The interval was down to 1.9, and as those guys went around him, it was all the way back out to a 2.2. So, you know, for the longest time, Greathouse was reeling in the third place of Gherkin, and then all of a sudden it started falling back. So that's why I was wondering what was going on with the 51. But it seems like he's right at that ship, and he is now on the move once again. He's hitting his marks, and that 46 truck is starting to get a little bit bigger in his windshield, and maybe still have a battle here, as definitely still got some time to do it, as we are down to 17, call it 18 laps to go, as Chris Bouchard is out there to a almost 16-second lead. Looks like it's being maintained. So I guess, you know, Justin Kirby has the speed to keep up with him. He's just a half a track behind.
And you can see here, Chris is on the back bumper of the 59. So knocking on the door there, Trevor Hunt, trying to put him a lap down. And we'll see how well Trevor will take to that, and we'll let him by. But I think it's an inevitable there that the 28 will get around the 59. But a little pride, I'm sure, with the 59, be like, hey, you're not getting around me. But we'll see how that racing goes here, as he will try to maintain the lead lap here as they're catching up on the back of Tim Glass.
Well, everyone else looks like they have the Camping World on their windshield, but Trevor Hunt's got the Craftsman on there. So maybe a little old school here, and maybe get the elbows out here and get a little old school and get a little rough with Chris Bouchard here and not let him pass and put you a lap down, even though you're in the top 5. But no, I mean, I don't expect anything too crazy here, other than the face on Trevor Hunt's little overlay there. So the lead now only 1 second between third and fourth, as Greathouse has finally broken into the yellow. As you see it on your timing tower right there, it is under a second. So he is certainly closing in. He's with inside the draft and reeling in that top 3 position. You know, Gherkin would certainly love to finish on the podium and keep that streak alive, and it seems like we've been talking to him every week. I mean, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago we were calling the little pickle that could, because he just found a way to finally break through and get the win, and all of a sudden he's at the top of the points, and all of a sudden he's dominating at the top of the points, and it seems like we talk to him week in, week out with another podium position. You know, maybe not grabbing the wins every single week, but being consistent and knocking the races out left and right, and maintaining the point lead even if he's not stretching it out. So another good run here, but looks like Greathouse should have the speed to catch him, but he's gonna have to get by him within 10 laps, and you know, may not be just that easy, as you know, getting up to somebody and making a pass are 2 different things, and he's not exactly, you know, cruising around this track. He's slowly gaining on him, but we'll see how this pass for third works out. Bouchard has lapped now all the way up to the top 4. So we have just Bouchard, Kirby, Gherkin, and Greathouse on the lead lap. Everybody else is at least 1 lap down, and only the top 9 are within 1 lap of the leader, as 10th place on down is at least 2 laps down. So it's domination at its best right here in Phoenix, and we are down to 10 laps to go as Bouchard has crossed the line, and the battle for third is about to get hot as Greathouse is now on the back bumper of that 46. Now, how much does Gherkin have in the tank to hold off the charge of Greathouse? Doesn't look like much at all. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and surrender that position, and that is a points move. If I've ever seen a points move, that's a move where you have a faster truck. I'm not going to fight you. It's not worth it right now. So I think that's a veteran move there by the 46. Whether inside he wanted to do it or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right thing to do, you know. As much as you probably want to defend your spot, you're 167 laps in, and the guy just ran you down, you know, from so many seconds back. It's kind of just let it up, and you know they're up here right now. As you can see, they're in Matt Greathouse. They're trying to get around the some lap traffic here as they're going by Jake Lesh. You know, it was up here battling not too far behind these guys as he's in that 12th spot right now, but they're pretty much letting these guys go by, let them race it out, try not to get in the way too much, but Matt, definitely, I think those 4 tires worked out a little bit better than 2. I'm almost positive if we were to had a chance to talk to Grady tonight, I can almost guarantee he probably took that 2 tires, trying to gamble a little bit to see if it would work, and not working out too well here tonight, but still gonna be. I mean, it still worked. I mean, he's got the top 4. He's a great run tonight by far, especially to have that consistency, and to it's not gonna hurt his points lead very much. It's gonna go away a little bit. He had a 115 points, I think it was 135 point lead over Chris Bouchard that's in the lead, so he's gonna lose a little bit, you know, and I'm not quite sure of the amount as far as bonus points, or I think they just go on raw points, so not a bad night, not with 3 laps remaining after tonight.
Not at all.
Three races. 3 laps.
I mean, you certainly don't want to do this every week. You don't want to see Bouchard dominate the rest of the season, and you kind of falling back towards the back half of the top 5 every week. But I mean, at this point, it's kind of crazy. But I feel like if this thing was maybe 10 laps longer, Bouchard may have lapped all the way up almost the entire field. I mean, right now, the field is probably only about 5 seconds ahead of Chris Bouchard, and by the field I mean the ones that are left on the lead lap. I mean, Gherkin is 21.5 seconds behind Chris Bouchard, and Bouchard last lap ran a 28.9. So you see, it's about 7 seconds. He sees them in his sights. The car that was pounding his back door, the only one that looked like had a chance to run with him all race, and all of a sudden he sees him in front of him, and he's almost got a chance to lap him. It's kind of crazy how things have turned out, but we've got 3 laps to go here in Phoenix, coming to the end of this one, as Chris Bouchard has just been the man to watch here tonight. Justin Kirby doing a fine job here, starting in 4th, working his way up, and eventually grabbing 2nd place here late in the race, and looks like he's going to have a good 2nd place finish here. Nobody has the speed to be able to keep up with Chris Bouchard here tonight.
Yeah, sorry about the extra noise in the background, as I had to remove a few of our friends as we get I really need an Autobot or something for YouTube chat.
Well, we're just that popular, Jimmy. That's really what it comes down to, and they know where they need to go to get that sponsorship out there. But we're on the last lap now, and again, Chris Bouchard are going to take this thing down, and he is going to win it pretty handily as he now comes down the back stretch here, which used to be the front stretch, heads into the final corner. Chris Bouchard, finally, we're going to get a 3rd win, or a guy with a third win on the season. And finally, for Bouchard's sake, it is him, as he's certainly threatened multiple times to grab that third win, and he's finally going to get it here in the desert at Phoenix in the Copperhead Classic 175. Good race to sponsor, and he's the one that sponsored it. So I guess that tells you why. And it is going to be Justin Kirby in second. Matthew Greathouse doing a good job finishing in third place. Grady Gherkin in fourth. Trevor Hunt in fifth. Bennett, Little, Jeffers, Kirby, and Bolster rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, so Scott Bolster was able to make them that pit stop work for him and get himself back up in that top 10. Even though he was 2 laps down, I'm sure he felt a lot more comfortable on them newer tires, being a little bit faster and working his way back up to get himself a good finish there tonight. So good job there by Scott with that top 10. And then Jasper Crawford in 11th, Jake Lesh in 12th, Tony Japs in 13th, Tim Glass in 14th, Peter Przuchek in 15th, Felipe Ramos in 16th, Matt Foster in 17th, and Jerry West with our 18th position finishing up tonight. So, yeah, Carl, I think we get to talk to our top 3, and at least even our third place winner was our winner of our little voter giveaway from last week.
Yeah, exactly. So the first one we'll bring in is going to be the 51 of Matthew Greathouse, just grabbing everybody right now and getting them in there. Just had some issues actually grabbing a hold of people here in Discord. But first one we'll go ahead and bring in here is your third place winner. Your third place finisher on the track, but your winner in your hearts, as Matthew Greathouse. He may not have enough to get the win here tonight, but you win the fan vote from Las Vegas. So you certainly have plenty of fans out there rooting for you, as you had that awesome Elvis Presley paint scheme. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, take us through your race here and how you worked your way up into finishing in the podium here.
Oh man, that was a long race. We had such a good team effort tonight. I mean, Chris put on a clinic. I would have had to have a couple bottles of nitrous to catch that dude. Just hauling the mail. I'm just glad to get a podium. I didn't get to practice any at all on this setup, so just glad to come home with a decent finish and pretty much just, keep it clean, and it helps when it stays green for that long. You can kind of work the long run, and I'm pretty decent at saving tires and running a long run, so it worked out for me.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the team points right there. Midpack Motorsports falling back to third place after last week, but a first and a third here has got to get you turned back around, if not grabbing the top spot overall. So you got to feel like going into these last couple of races, you're on the right team to maybe get this thing done.
For sure. I mean, we have a lot of talented guys. We got some guys that are learning and haven't made quite as many races, and we've got 1, 2, 3 here with Little, myself, and Bouchard that have been running really well. So I don't know. It's there's some competitive teams as well, so it's gonna be tough. But we're looking forward to the challenge.
So we're now down to 3 races left, as we got North Wilkesboro next week. We got Gateway, and then we got Charlotte. Do you think there's still a chance to see that 51 get to victory lane?
Man, I would like to hope so. I think my best opportunity was probably Vegas, just based upon, the tracks that I like. I'm going to have to put in some laps at North Wilkesboro. Never been there in a truck. Gateway, I'll probably be okay. The flatter tracks I seem to do pretty well and save tires pretty well. And Charlotte's always an opportunity. If I can just somehow keep the tires under me, I really like mile and a half, so I wouldn't count out a good finish there. So just really just got to stay out of trouble. I've been caught up in some messes of others throughout this whole season, so you never really know. I feel like I deserve, at least I've had the truck for more top 5s, more top 10s, just been caught up in some messes. So we'll just have to see.
Another good finish here, another podium for you, but got to give you some time now to give a shout out to everybody that helped you get that win at Vegas. Maybe not the win in victory lane, but get the win for the best paint scheme out there. And it was a fantastic paint scheme. It's just really clean. It may have been all white, but everything that you had on it made it really, really pop. So congrats on the win on that, and give you a little time to send out any thanks and shout outs.
Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I enjoyed painting it. I do that, I paint trucks on the side whenever I have the time. So it was nice to put something that I actually, painted myself and got some votes. And I appreciate everybody for voting for me. It surprised me that I got over 100 votes. That's pretty cool. So just shout out to those guys. Shout out to you all for broadcasting. Like I say it every week. It's an incredible job. You guys do a great job. And thanks for putting that paint scheme contest on last week. I'd like to shout out my teammates tonight. Great finishes. Chris, just rocket ship. It wasn't even close. I'd like to shout out my main sponsor, Off Axis Paint. I'm glad to get them a podium and see, man. I don't know. I got so many people to thank. It's insane that you could even get 100 votes. I was thinking maybe I might get 10, 12 votes, but so
yeah, it looked like for a while Jerry West was kind of walking away from it as he got out to an early lead. You closed him in, then he got out to another big lead as it looked like one or two shares from him was going to put the nail in the coffin. But then all of a sudden it just, I don't know if it was overnight in Pennsylvania, but the votes came rolling in.
Yeah, it did seem that way. So. Yeah, I shared it as well, and I had a couple other people sharing it, my brother and my wife, and just trying to get some votes. And I just think it would be really cool to have that truck at least on a beer mug, and I guess a T-shirt. So it's just kind of cool, just kind of a sentimental thing more so than anything, just because I know that I painted it, so it's kind of neat. I think that's all I got. I've probably taken up too much time, so just glad to get a podium. So thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, good run tonight, and we'll definitely get in touch with you and make sure we get you all the prizes that you certainly deserve for that awesome paint scheme. So congrats again, and we'll let you go celebrate with the team.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that was the 51 third place finisher, Matthew Greathouse. Now, Jimmy, we go ahead and move to second place finisher, the 58 of Justin Kirby.
Hey, Justin, Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Yeah, 10-4. I got you.
Hey, at first it didn't look like, you were the truck to beat or even had anything for maybe Chris, but I believe your long game was what paid off for you tonight, as you were able to keep that truck up on the podium and get around Grady Gherkin and Matthew Greathouse and just have a great finish tonight. And you think if the race, are there any decisions that you would have made that maybe you would have had a chance for running down Chris?
No, I don't think so. I ran about as efficiently as I could. I mean, this place is hard to be consistent at because you miss 3 and 4 just a little bit, and you cost yourself a tenth. And all I was just trying to run my own race and keep the truck on the bottom and just not force the truck to do what it didn't want to do. And it was, it panned out for the most part, but that so much heat was out there with the way that the air temp track temp was. It was really hard to push for any period of time and not destroy your tires for the rest of the run.
Yeah, and that paid off for you here tonight, as you can tell. Obviously, coming in second place, you were quiet. I mean, for the most part, you were pretty quiet tonight, and I think you fell back just a little bit earlier on, but we're able to get some good pit stops, get yourself some time on the track, as it looked. I think most of the time gained on a lot of drivers was with pit stops tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I hit my pit entries. I hit my first one fairly good, and I nailed my second one. That's how I was able to get around Matt. And just that one lap extra on the tires, and then he was telling me he had blown through his pit board on his stop, so that got me the little bit extra cushion I needed to, just focus on trying to run down Grady and hope catastrophe hit the 28.
So without giving away all your secrets or your excellent pit entries, what do you do for maybe somebody that's watching that would help them get better at just getting in and out of the pits proficiently?
Well, it's basically you got to treat it like a road course. You got to have a mark. So that you find that you like that it's like, okay, I could drive to this point and then dump the brakes, get it downshifted, get down to pit road speed. And it takes, I dedicate like 15, 20 minutes, each race to make sure I have my pit marks down, and because there's been a lot more races lost on pit road mistakes, whether it's you lock the rears up and spin, you miss pit road altogether, speeding. It's one of those fundamentals you got to have down just to make sure you don't beat yourself.
Yeah, so there you go, viewers. If you're interested in maybe any techniques on how to enter pit lane and kind of some of the things that you might want to do prior to your race during your practice time, or just even when you're out there getting some hot laps in and getting some practice down, take it from Justin here, as he had some really good pit stops and was able to get around Matthew Greyhouse, our third place driver tonight, for position on the pits, in the pits, place on the track. So it definitely paid off. But again, Justin, you did a great job tonight, and can't say anything better. You guys did awesome tonight. Very low cautions, a couple early from one self spinner, and then somebody got tangled up in a little bit. But overall, it was just a great race to watch, and just kind of chit chat with my partner up here, Mr. Carl Hanwick. And again, congratulations, and we'll give you a little time to get any shout outs that you may have.
All right. Yeah, thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Just thanks to Brent and Trevor, my teammates, just, putting up with me and the shenanigans that we got that we do sometimes. And that got to thank new sponsor on board, OMG Paint Shop, for Matt Gosh and the awesome paint he got for me and the paints he's done for us in the past. And this is just saying thanks for all the work he's done to get his name out there and try to get his paint business going. So other than that, just looking forward to next week.
Yeah, that short track next week, North Wilkesboro. So how do you feel about next week?
It's gonna be good.
Well, if you feel anything like I about them, I hide here in the booth from short tracks. But again, good luck next week. Congratulations tonight, and we'll let you go celebrate with your teammates.
All right, 10-4, guys. Thanks, and have a good night.
You too.
All right, that your second place finisher, the 58 of Justin Kirby. And now we bring in pretty much the only driver that was out there on the track tonight, and that is Chris Bouchard. And Chris, this has got to feel good. I mean, I feel like you've had multiple races that were kind of similar to this, where you were out there, you were leading a ton of laps, dominant truck, and just one thing happened, whether it's cautions or this or that has kept you from getting that third win. So finally cracked that third win here tonight. So tell me what this means.
Man, finally. I was expecting some sort of late race caution with like 20 to go, and next thing you know, there's a restart, something happens, and I throw it away and all that. But I don't feel like I should be on almost a 5-race win streak with how many laps I've led the last 4 or 5 races. But yeah, pretty solid day, pretty solid points day. Mainly, that's what I was looking for. I thought Grady was gonna run second to me, and at the end he fell back to 4th. But I really thought it wasn't gonna be a huge points day, but it was a good day overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we were kind of saying the same thing. It just seems like week in and week out, Bouchard up in the lead, but Grady Gherkin's in second, so it's really not much going on. But yeah, I mean, at least for your sake, Gherkin falls back to 4th there at the end and help you out with the points. With 3 races to go now, you should be closing in a little bit, and you've had the speed. I mean, tonight was probably the the biggest kind of dominance that we've seen all season from anybody. I mean, you almost got to the point where I feel like if it was 10, 15 more laps in this race, you would have lapped the entire field. So just tell me what it was. Was it just focusing on hitting your marks, lap in, lap out? Did you have something that was just working better than everybody else out there?
Yeah, I kind of just get tunnel vision. Like once I get a lead and all that, I just turn off all my relatives and I just get into a really good rhythm. I figured out how to shift here pretty good, how to maximize lap times that way, and that was kind of what made me pull away from Grady at the end of that first run, and it kind of just built on from there. I'll say this: if I lapped the entire field, I was going to retire. Because so in racing, like if you just lap the field, it's like you should just retire. So like that's what we say at the shop, at least. But yeah, it's just I'm okay at Phoenix. I thought before this night, I like the place. It's just kind of tricky to get. It's 3 and 4 is just really hard to hit like consistently, and I feel like shifting helped my lack of performance in 3 and 4. So I think that was a big help on me stretching away from these guys.
Well, you certainly stretch away from these guys pretty easily here tonight, especially at the end. And another win here in the belt, and now we head to short track next week. We got North Wilkesboro, then we got the 1.25 mile of Gateway, and the 1.5 mile of Charlotte. So do you keep this streak rolling here? Do you keep running down Grady and try and take this thing away from him before the end?
I'm hoping. Right now, according to the iRacing points, I'm leading. That involves all of our drop weeks. Scott's points, I don't think involves drop weeks yet. So his points should mirror the iRacing points going into the season finale. I'm really looking forward to Gateway. Gateway is kind of a similar driving style to here, where I'm expecting to having to shift at least through 1. Because I know 1 is pretty tight, 1 and 2 is pretty tight. North Wilkesboro is going to be a crapshoot. That's just going to be survival to the end. I'm okay there, but it's just such a small track, anything can happen. And then I feel like I just need the points lead going to Charlotte, and then I can just control my fate from there.
Well, sounds good, and you've been certainly handling your business the last couple weeks here, and finally grabbing that 3rd win. So we'll give you time to give a shout out as you guys finishing 1-3 here for the team has been a good finish, and we'll let you give some shout outs.
Yeah, we can't forget about Jeremy. He finished 7th too, so it was a pretty good points day for Mid-Pack Motorsports. Not really running Mid-Pack anymore. I gotta give a shout out to Scott for putting on the league, putting a lot of time and effort into these setups and everything, week in and week out. They just been a blast to drive. I gotta give a shout out to everyone in the field for keeping it green. Everyone was very cordial on where they're going and all that. So that was pretty nice to come up on lappers. There's like 1 or 2 that kind of fought, but in the end, it all worked out. And then I got to give a shout out to you guys for broadcasting it. It was, unfortunately, it was probably really boring to watch, but I can't wait to watch it. And then I got to give a shout out to Lucas Oil Racing, Sports Diesel, and Custom Paints and Diecast.
Well, congrats once again on the win and possibly the points lead if that's how everything shakes out. So we'll go ahead and let you go celebrate with the team, and we'll see you next week at North Wilkesboro.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was your winner, the 28, Chris Bouchard, and a dominating performance here tonight. I mean, 19 seconds. That's something you see, like, maybe on a road course if you have somebody that's really good at a road course and just kind of checks out from everybody. But to do it here on a 1 mile track, 1.01 mile track. You didn't want to trigger you there for a second, but yeah, just a fantastic drive by Chris.
Yeah, I mean, the caliber of these drivers is unreal. Yeah, to think that Chris could put 19 seconds on these guys is unfathomable. And it all kind of boils down to a few things. 1, Chris's ability to drive, but 2, the whole field, everybody in the race tonight, their ability to keep it green. without that, Chris does not have no 19-second lead. So, congratulations to everybody, not just the top three, but everybody. Our biggest mover tonight was Travis Bennett. He ended up in the 6th position, up 10 spots from the start. So I want to give a shout out to him. And Grady Gherkin obviously having another great night. Trevor Hunt keeping it consistent, another top 5 for him. And then obviously Scott Polster, just Mr. Consistent, being in that top 10 again. So if you want to watch why Scott's sitting 7th in the points, it sounds like we're going to hopefully get an update here from Scott on where maybe the guys stand with their drop weeks, which would be fun to see, kind of see who's actually in the lead with those points in that position, as these guys are allowed to have a few drop weeks. Which will shift points around, as you can tell that it put Chris in the front at the moment. So, but it's not over yet, Carl. We got 3 more races: North Wilkesboro, Gateway, and Charlotte. All great tracks, especially to watch. And it was not boring for us here tonight. These guys just did one heck of a job driving. And like I said, I can't stress enough how impressed I am on their ability to get around here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm kind of looking forward. No offense to Grady, but I'm kind of hoping Chris Bouchard does actually take the points lead, because I need Grady to go back to the little pickle that could, so I can we start chugging back up the point standings and grab that points lead back and give us something to root for. But I mean, regardless of what happens, whether Chris is actually in the points lead or if he's still chasing down Grady, it looks like Chris is going to be tough to beat here to finish out this season, but not going to find out unless you tune in. And again, 3 more races to go here for UCRL. We got 1 more race this week for CRN, and that is Thursday night, the return of the Core Vintage Cup Series. So make sure you tune in for that one. That's going to do it for us here at Phoenix. For myself and Jimmy, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.